Call the meeting to order. There's an Executive Village School District Board of Education met in regular session 6 p.m. on January 29, 2026 at 1135 Bethlehem Richmond Road, Richmond, Ohio 45157. With the following members present. Roll call, please.
Mr. Dufault.
Here.
Ms. Grazer. Here. Ms. Story. Absent. Mr. Wooten.
Yes. Right here.
Mr. Zimmerman. Here.
Awesome. John, would you mind lead us in the invocation?
Yep.
Tim, pledge.
Yep. All right. Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thanks for bringing us together today. Thank you for the opportunity to serve our community and make decisions for the betterment of our children, the future, and our hope in the future. Lord, we thank you for safety over the last couple of days and continue to keep us safe in the cold weather and guide us in our decisions. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, item number 2. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda tonight? All right, with that said, we'll move on to letter B. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the agenda as presented. Need a motion?
Also move.
Tim, second.
Second.
John, oh, Mindy, yeah. Okay. All right, any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Dufault.
Yes.
Ms. Grazer. Yes. Mr. Wooten.
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman. Yes.
All right, and our favorite item of the evening, right? Item number 3.
Yes, I'd like to invite Dr. Jamie Coons, principal of Monroe Elementary, forward this evening to present our Leading Lion Awards. Also, a little different. When she's done talking about her Leading Lions, she's actually going to, and I recognize our Employees of the Month, she's actually going to stand at the podium and give an update about our school. That's something different that we're going to do this semester. We ask our principals to come and recognize our Leading Lions. I think it's a great opportunity for them to share about the happenings of their school.
I kind of did it a little bit differently, if that's okay.
Sure.
And I have my building presentation that goes kind of along with my Leading Lines. So can I just jump straight to the Monroe piece and then go from there?
Garth, can you pull that up, please?
Okay. So when Mr. Daniels asked us to talk about our schools and give everyone a little bit of a spotlight, I was thinking, well, I could talk to you about our awesome report card, I could talk to you about curricular programs, and I could talk to you about the things that our kids are doing, but I thought our greatest asset is our people. And there are so many folks at Monroe that go above and beyond and do all of the extra things for kids without receiving anything extra in return. So tonight, I would like to focus on celebrating the opportunities for student and family engagement at Monroe. So the first thing I'd like to highlight is our Polar Express Night, and there's just some photos for everyone to see for our Polar Express Night. And this was a math-themed event. It was a parents' invitation event activity, so it has a curricular theme. We are one of the only buildings that I know of in the county that does academic evenings for families, that brings families and students into the building in the evening to talk about how to do math and how to make it fun. So our Polar Express Night had a math theme. It was a Build It theme. It was designed by Mr. Stuck, so glad he's here, and along with our Math Night Committee. There were about 16 folks on the Math Night Committee. There were, correct me if I'm wrong, Zach, but I think there were about 12 different stations of activities for the kids to do math while they were at school with their families, and it was lots of fun. We had 260 students in attendance this year. That is record-setting for Monroe. That's about a little less than half of our student population, but they were there with their families. And they had such a great time. And so for the last 10 years, we've always done an academic event evening around the Christmas season. And Mr. Dufault has been huge in helping us secure a very special guest every year for the last 10 years. Next slide. In fact, my son only knows this Santa Claus. And so you can see photos with him every year with Santa. So there's one more slide, I think, that just shows the progression. So it's been great to have Mr. Dufault go above and beyond to help us make sure that Santa is in attendance for this event. So that's one. The next thing that I'd like to talk about after special thanks is our 5th grade writing club. So these are just some photos of kids during our 5th grade writing club. This was a club that was founded by Tracy Lindner with the idea to help make writing fun for our kids. We do so much academic writing in the classroom, so she wanted to come up with something to help our students enjoy writing and making it enjoyable for the kids. So on the next slide, it talks about we have about 60 participants. That's 2/3 of our 5th graders are participating in writing club, and the club meets twice weekly during their lunch. So these kids are giving up their lunch to go and write with Mrs. Lindner during lunch. And so it has been wildly, embraced by our students, and it's a lot of fun. So they are writing things like on the next slide, it talks about all about me highlights of students who they are writing about each other. And then on the next slide, they're doing staff highlights, so some staff members that students may not know about because they work in different areas of the building. So they do staff highlights, and they're even doing advice columns. So doing advice columns for 4th graders going into 5th grade so that our 4th graders know what to do when they get to 5th grade. So they are coming up with different creative designs, and they are being broadcast on the TVs throughout the school. So the kids are getting to see their published writing, and other students throughout the building are seeing their writing as well. So I'd like to say a special thanks to Mrs. Lindner. And the last club kind of brings it all together. This is our disc golf club. And this is a club that meets in the fall and the spring after school. It was founded by Mr. Lauschie for our 4th and 5th grade students. And so they are learning all about how to throw a disc. And if you've never played disc golf, I can tell you there's a trick to it because, again, my child participates in disc golf club, and it's not easy. And so not only is he talking about how to play, he has also taught the kids where to go in the community, where they can go out into the community and play disc golf. They also got to work with some professional disc golfers. Who knew there was such a thing? But there is. And so it's been wildly embraced by our 4th and 5th grade students, and it's a lot of fun. So Woodland Mound has a course if you're interested. And you might see a few of my discs off in the woods. So I wanted just to give a special thanks to Mr. Lauschie. So I'm sharing these with you not because, I want to say kudos to Monroe because I do, but also because these are things that we're not voting on. These are not supplemental contracts. These are extra things that people are doing with their time with no extra pay, no extra incentive. We're just making it happen because our goal is to make sure that our kids are involved and engaged. We have future events coming up, and you're invited to attend. Kindness Week was actually scheduled for this week. We pushed it. It is going to be next week. So Kindness Week is 5 full days. That is a global initiative. So Monroe participates in the Great Kindness Challenge. And this year our efforts are going to actually go to help the local libraries. So we're doing a penny war to help provide funding for the summer reading program for the local libraries. So that's exciting. Our literacy night is our next academic night that is going to be held on March 6th. I'm not sure what the theme is yet, but it's always the week of Dr. Seuss's birthday, so sometimes we have, some fun things with the cat and hat going on. And then new to Monroe this year is a science night. So Mary Zimmerman received a grant for this, and so it's funded through a grant, so we're going to have a science night to be held on April 8th this year. And again, these are all extra things that the staff is putting in extra time, extra energy, extra effort, and extra hours so that we can increase student and family engagement at Monroe. So, just wanted to highlight that. So, there's something for everyone. That said, I would really like to recognize my leading lions this month, Mr. Duvall, Mrs. Lindner, and Mr. Lauschie.
All right.
Come on up. Let's get a picture. I feel like we should have the same getting a picture like that.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1.
You can tell.
It's like you barely smile. It's like, oh,
Thank you. And we're gonna be catting the hat then now?
Yeah.
All right.
Yep, whatever she needs.
Just want to take a minute. Also, we have our Employees of the Month. That is Caitlin Arthur, a certified teacher. She's split between New Richmond Middle School and New Richmond High School. I'll talk a little bit more about her inside the superintendent's presentation. And then Robin Pelcha, who is our food service manager, over at Locust Corner, our classified employee of the month. So I'll talk a little bit about them in the superintendent's report.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. All right, puts us down to item number 5, public participation.
I believe we have two.
You have 2?
Ready to go first? Yep, I think you're the only one here so far. And my name's Steve Hack. I've been a resident of New Richmond approximately 35 years. It's very ironic that approximately 30 years ago, I came to these meetings. I probably rarely missed any for maybe 15 years, way before you all were here. It's ironic that I came to the first meeting because of a shortfall of money. I'm back. I hate to use Arnold Schwarzenegger's saying, but I'll be back. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Secretary's not here?
So is Mr. Dewar here?
He's not here yet.
Okay.
Again, an emergency.
Okay. We're going to move on. Item number 6, superintendent's report.
Well, it's hard to believe that it's still January. So this evening I want to always start with our recognitions as Mr. Shanklin gets us teed up there. I shared a little bit about Caitlin Arthur. Caitlin is our math teacher. She's split between the middle school and high school. She's done an outstanding job navigating her first year of teaching, seamlessly handling 3 different preps across 2 buildings with a constant smile, a refreshing addition to our staff. She has forged a strong connection with her students, encouraging them daily to be the best version of themselves. Caitlin truly shows what it means to be a New Richmond Lion, leading by example with a positive attitude and dedication to student success. All of our nominations come from peers. And then Robin Pelcha, our Locust Corner Elementary Food Service. Robin has strong leadership in the kitchen at LCE. She has, and it does not go unnoticed by her peers, her attitude, her willingness to understand those around her makes her an excellent leader. She's easygoing. Her presence makes it easy for her staff to focus on their jobs and complete the task at hand. The food service department and NREVSD is thrilled to have her on our team. Tonight we had our leading Lions, and then also we asked all of our new staff to New Richmond to nominate a marigold. So a marigold is someone who really makes your life better, is a support, helps you grow. So our new staff members that were at New Teacher Orientation recognized 18 of their colleagues. So what I did was I collected those nominations, and on Tuesday or Wednesday morning when staff returned, they had the letters on their desks to greet them. So 18 staff members were recognized there by their new colleagues for really making their life better and their profession better here in New Richmond. And as you know, we almost didn't make it, being close to the last part of the month. It is School Board Recognition Month. So in front of you tonight, you have one of our varsity letters inside of a shadow box. That is our gift to you. And we want to pause to recognize something that often happens quietly behind the scenes, but is essential to the success of our schools, and that's the service of our school board. Being an elected member is a lot like earning a varsity letter. You don't receive it for showing up. You earn it through commitment, preparation, and perseverance. And in the age of social media, do those 3 words take on a completely different meaning. You earn it by putting in long hours when no one's watching, by making the tough calls, and holding yourself to a higher standards because the folks of our community are counting on you. This letter represents leadership, teamwork, accountability, and pride in something bigger than yourself. Those same qualities define effective school board service. Our board members represent our community, advocate for our students, support our staff, and make decisions that have a long-term impact, often without applause and sometimes amid very difficult circumstances. Tonight's gift, preserved in a shadow box, is a small symbol of something bigger. It represents earned respect, dedication to the team, and pride in service. It says you showed up, you stayed the course, and you led with purpose. On behalf of our students, our staff, and our entire community, thank you for earning your letter and showcasing your Lion pride. So as we transition from recognitions, a commitment that I made to you to be accountable was to share our discipline data. We have concluded, when this data was run, we concluded our first semester. Overall, we're seeing about a 38.7% reduction in total discipline referrals across the previous year. We've seen the greatest improvement at the middle school and the high school with shifts toward more inclusionary disciplinary practices. So you can see each building. I have a little note there on Locust Corner that I'll share on the next slide, but again, it is just a testament to our staff and our parents, because we do this in partnership with them. And we are really working hard to make sure the student experience, the staff experience are really the cornerstone of our work, to make sure that each environment that our students can learn and our staff can really stretch and grow our students. So our district level insights, our key strengths, we obviously see an overall improvement. The middle school success at the moment. We are seeing a significant move away from repeat consequences across the district. And our largest area is vaping, effective reduction in tobacco and substance-related incidents compared to last year. A couple individual students' placements will decrease the numbers at Locust Corner. The high school continues to struggle with language as our young people make some poor choices with their language, and they'll have to do some targeted supports there. And then we are seeing a few emerging safety concerns. The use of language by some of our younger students around safety and harm, while they may not always know what they're saying, the words carry a lot of meaning. So that's a focus that we're going to continue to monitor and make sure that we're revisiting those inside of those positive behavior and intervention supports teaching and the impact of the language they choose. So again, making some moves there. We're going to, at the request of just being and doing things differently, we are going to have some kindergarten nights. It's hard to believe that we will be welcoming the class of 2039 in August of next year. So Locust Corner and Monroe Elementary will be having kindergarten information nights. It's an opportunity for the parents and the community to tour the spaces, to meet the teachers, learn about our academic program, and then each of the buildings will be creating connections with our new families by hosting events throughout the spring. So there'll be one event each month. Those may differ by building, and that's okay. They could be play, they could be a library reading experience, but we really want to establish that connection with the families that are new, that don't utilize our preschool. Because obviously if you're in preschool, you do have a connection to the school, but if you are not utilizing preschool, you will. And so again, this is sort of something that we're doing new. Typically our registration would open later in the spring, but we're going to open registration early and start building those connections with our families. So we're excited to host those next week in both of the buildings. We did receive a school bus safety grant. There was about $10 million allocated across the state. We requested $29,375. We were granted $8,900, only because the need far outpaced the money that the state had set aside. So we are going to, as you can see up there, those signs, we're going to outfit 8 of our 25 buses with those lighted signs on the front and the back. So right now they're just reflective, and as we will use, if the state comes up with a grant again next year, we will work to outfit the buses. But our investment will be very small, only because the 8th kit will cost a little more than what we were granted. but we're excited to outfit 8 of our 25 buses, and this is through an Ohio Department of Education and Workforce bus grant. And then finally, what people care most about. There will be nobody happier than me when we have a regular day of school tomorrow. But there seems to be some misconceptions around the way things used to be and the way they are now. In Ohio, used to have 5 calamity days. We moved to hours, so you must meet a minimum number of hours. So in Ohio, you're required to have 910 hours in K-5 and 612, 1001. We are over that. We're at 1,032 and 1,067. We bank hours. We are over that because we are in Southwest Ohio and things happen. So at the moment, including the delay this morning, we've used 35 hours in K-5 and 34.85 in 612, and that's because their days have a different length. The length of day is different across the buildings. So for example, let me see here, as I pull this up, I'll tell you what that is. So elementary has a lot remaining. They have 87 hours. High school, the secondary campus has 31.15. So equivalent days, that's 5 days about left. If we need to utilize, which we probably will, we do have 3 remote days per law. So that we have approximately 8 days in the bank on the secondary campus, and we have approximately 17 days in the bank at elementary. What we worry about is that seniors have 3 early release days. So really, if you take that number there, you have 5. They really only have 5 days before we eat into their early release days. So we will utilize our remote plan. When we do, the entire district will use it, whether we've banked enough hours in elementary or not. It's an equity issue. We want to make sure everybody's having school. Worst case scenario, if we were to run out of hours, we would just come to you and look at amending the calendar. So that's what we would do in terms of if there was something that changed, we would come to the board and say, we may need to add a day. We might need to swap a professional development day for an in-student day. But at the elementary, the length of day is 6.2 hours. At the secondary campus, the length of day is 6.17 hours. That's where we are. We'll notify our families where we are. I asked Mr. Shanklin to just rework our remote plan, make it a little more readable. It's very wordy. But if the community remembers and you had students in session last year, it will be very, very similar to what the schedule was when we had the flood days. Have it generated any questions, concerns? Is there anything that maybe needs some clarification? And I think the other thing is we don't respond to everything on social media, but blizzard bags are no longer a thing either. When the state allowed each school district to have those 3 remote days, it wiped out the legislation for blizzard bags. So we've heard a little bit about that. It's really hard. We know that a delay is harder on families than to be open or to be closed because but I will say, in terms of having school, a delay allows us to have some semblance of a school day when it's safe and we're able to do that. And for me, there's far too many people to thank, and I will leave someone out, but I will say that our custodial, our maintenance, our bus drivers, our frontline folks who work when we have snow days or when we are closed, they worked extremely hard in some extremely cold temperatures, and they did an amazing job on this campus. And I also want to publicly thank our villages and our townships. Yesterday, we had some difficulties with our buses on the road. We asked for some assistance for some roads to be replowed, and they came and they got us done. And it really was a community effort across the entire 63 miles. So I know some people aren't excited, but I am happy and excited to have a regular day of school tomorrow. So that is my report. Are there any questions that I can answer for all of you?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Awesome, great. You ready, sir?
I was born
All right.
ready.
Item 7, Treasurer's Report.
Bounce around a little bit. I got some updates for this evening. So when we talk about the financials specific, you remember we're looking at fiscal year to date activity through December. We're looking at the projected amounts for expenditures and revenues from January to the end of the fiscal year. So we're gonna kick it off. So as usual, I just want to give a quick items overview. So I'll just kind of touch on all of those, and then if you want to see any of those attachments, we can certainly pull those up. Of course, we have the prior meetings, the financial reports, which we'll have in the next slide. Quite a few donations this month, so that was nice to see so much support pouring in. We do have a few items to dispose of. Looks like just a few old laptops. Nothing of really great value. One thing that's likely new for you all is the state is now requiring us to write and draft a plan for the use of our Disadvantaged People Impact Aid, which is the DPIA money, and Student Wellness and Success Fund. So that's always been granted to districts. That's the restricted grants and aid line on the forecast that we see. And they have a, we'll say, diagnosed list of uses for that money, and it's pretty broad, and a lot of those two things overlap. And with our amount being pretty low, it's really easy just to spend that on staff salaries and benefits for like our counselors and all our health aides. So previously you could just spend the money and you submit a report typically the next fiscal year in the fall. Now they actually want to see that a plan has been provided to the board, approved by the board, and then we post that on our website. And then when I fill out that survey in the fall, I'll actually ask when we approved this plan and when it went on the website as well. So this one was a little bit easy just because, again, the amount was so low. Our salaries that we would spend on it trumped what we're granted anyway. So nice and easy, so just a formality. Mr. Fry and I met with the OFCC folks over break, so we actually did have a little chunk of money left over from the Appalachian Grant Project, about $4,600 that was initially set aside as administrative cost money, which we didn't end up using. So they said we can draft this amendment for you to make that available to spend on anything else related to the project. So basically freeze that up. We just had to bring the amendment to make that available. So we're looking at a total of just over $7,300 when we combine that with just a little bit left we didn't actually fully spend on the project itself. So that's the grant amendment. We have 2 invoices for you to approve. These ones are easy. OSBA always invoices us right at the start of the year, and we never know what the membership is going to be because they base it on our enrollment numbers. So just usually wait until that amount shows up and we'll get the purchase order ready for that. Another one for the Claremont County Board of DD. We accidentally cut a check to Claremont County ESC because all those vendor names run together. So there was an error with the PO that was cut for that. So once you charge that in the system, you can't charge it again. So we still owe that. So it's just a simple clerical make a new PO to pay that bill, but it's just over the 3-day threshold. To piggyback on Mr. Daniels, so we have some appropriations updating. Whenever we do this, it doesn't necessarily impact every single fund on the books. So the big one here is our 499 fund, which is all of our state grants. So the safety grant money, obviously in October when I started, we didn't even have that knowingly coming to us, therefore it wasn't appropriated. So now we know what that amount is. We're just increasing it so we can actually spend it there and have you approve those increases there. And we'll likely see another 1 or 2 of these in the coming months too. I usually do these after we file the forecast for the spring to kind of make that match what we expect to spend. As we talked when I got here, you don't want to have appropriations spent in one set of numbers and your forecast spent in another set. So, but again, as you get outside monies like grants like that, you typically have to adjust those. And then of course at the very end we have the tax levy resolution there. To dive into the financials for December. Oh, oops, I'm ahead of myself. Can we go on more? Thank you. A few business updates. So this is what I've really been burning the midnight oil on, getting ready to roll out here. So I mentioned to you a new system that we're going to be utilizing called SCView. It replaces one of our current systems. So this does all of our document management, all of our financial systems, but it'll also do all of our HR onboarding. So that's electronic and many other things that I'll save for another day. But we actually have begun using that already to
electronically invoice outside entities for our facilities rentals. So now Becky in my office doesn't have to keep making them in Word and sending it and remembering what number it is. It just emails out, and it's just way faster. So we'll be doing some training in early February between the admins and the staff, just so everyone feels really comfortable, and we'll do a soft rollout and hit the ground running there. So my office is really liking it. There's some tasks that have gone to what used to take 10 minutes that now takes about 45 seconds, so that's been a really welcome thing. We actually just had training today with another software we're utilizing called Bonefish Systems. I'll touch on this slightly, and I think you'll enjoy the security this brings. So this is actually a comprehensive monitoring system. So it looks at every single check we cut to vendors, ensures that they have business filings on file with the state of Ohio. It actually references our employee database too to make sure there's not employee-vendor relationships for like conflict of interest, obviously fraud issues as well. They're linked up with Fifth Third, so they have the superpower banking algorithms to look at fraud before it even happens. So that's really nice. So now I'll be combing through literally every single check to that level of detail to make sure there's no issues. So this is like a stopgap before they actually leave the door. So this is like the cheapest insurance policy you can buy. And it's just, again, it automates a lot of things too. It can run a lot of reports for you as well. And it also vets all of our payroll payments to our employees, same thing, making sure there's none of those vendor-employee relationships just to catch fraud. Ensures licensure requirements, even has some training systems in there as well, so people can do training that's required by the state, all kinds of awesome stuff. So really excited to roll that out, and again, that's just going to be another piece of the pie that really makes us way more efficient, and again, just fraud protection is another big thing as well. So I'm really excited to continue to use that. And then as I mentioned in one of my previous updates, we did enter a request with the auditor to get a tax settlement advance. So I was told we should be getting that in early February. So historically, we weren't getting those until about April, sometimes May. So we should get a nice multi-million-dollar chunk of cash a lot sooner, and obviously use the interest on that as well. And then the financials, and then I'll pipe down for a moment. So the total expenses for the fiscal year as we're projecting it, we're actually tracking a little bit more favorably now. We've had some staffing changes as we've discussed. So with those internal moves, just being able to move people around and not replace them this year, that has brought our forecasted expenses down. And again, as we continue to compare this, we are utilizing all of the action items in that reduction plan and comparing that to October now. So lots of differences as we discussed. Our December expenses were just over $2 million. That's right around our monthly month average. And again, to tie us back to what we thought, and projected in October for total expenses was $27.7. I'll just round it there. We're looking right around $27.5. So salaries and benefits is really that big change as a result of a few people peeling off payroll since October. And revenues, obviously, this is the bigger thing that we saw. Just capturing some things that weren't in the forecast. Those TIF payments we still hadn't received yet. All the shared service agreements with Felicity Franklin, and the return of advance from food service, etc. So with those not being captured in October, we're capturing those now, so that's a bigger uptick, but I'll always take a favorable uptick on the revenue side. But it was a low month on the December revenue. Pretty much just had our state aid payments coming in, nothing crazy there. But we are looking at a $940,000 plus or favorable amount that we're set to receive or projected to receive over the forecasted amount. So reduction plan is certainly making its way into the future there. And again, I believe there are some other things that will be even better as we continue to push forward as I get more data for January as well. And that puts us at just over $7.2 billion for our general fund ending cash for the month of December. And then lastly, just to touch on our investment revenue. Again, just like to track where we were from last year to this year. We're about 41% of where we were last year to this point in time. Hopefully that tax advance will really drive up what we receive in February and March especially, so we get that infusion and gain the interest, and we'll start to spend that down. So I'll be interested to see where we land at the end of June here, but still good things happening. So I think that's it for me as far as all the comprehensives. Thank you.
Awesome. Great update. Thank you. All All right, it's recommended the Board of Education approve items 7A through 7H. Jonathan, second.
Second.
Tim, second. Any discussion? So read on the SC view, will that have the option to pay through that once you send out to the those
So what I want to look
facilities?
at is, so I don't know if they have like a payment processing portal, if you will, for that, for better word, but what I've already been thinking about that, because other people have been asking about that for the facilities rental specifically, especially to pay by credit card. So I can look into it to see if maybe our bank has something that they can hook up with us, so at a later date, we should be able to put like a link on those invoices that they can click and then sweep us into something. That's probably something similar to PayPal, but probably not that exact platform, but definitely looking to move to that, just get our money faster, not tracking checks and banking on the mail, getting it here at any time soon. So, but yeah, I would like to pursue that as well. So, but it's been great.
Any questions? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Dufont,
Yes.
Ms. Grazier, Mr. Wooten,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman. Yes.
All right. Item number 8, human resource items.
Overview here, we have a resignation effective today. A hiring of a classified sub. Specifically, they will be supporting transportation and maintenance. We have a long-term sub to fill a position for the remainder of the year. And then finally this evening, we have 12 recommendations inside of our supplementals. This will be the last of the big push. This is spring sports and 1 gate worker. We are only missing, I think, 2 positions for the year right there are not filled, which is assistant coach high school boys and girls track and coach middle school boys track and field. So these are all here for this evening for your approval. The last of the push. This will meet the payroll deadline. We'll also make sure each coach carries the certifications to properly do the work that they are entrusted to do with our students.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so recommend the Board of Education approve items 8A through 8D. Need a motion, please. All right, Mindy, second. Tim, any discussions? No. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Dufont,
Yes.
Ms. Grazier, Mr. Wooten,
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman. Yes.
Okay, item 9, approval of the 2026-2027 academic calendar.
What we have here presented, this is actually our 3rd reading. We wanted to make sure that as a new board member, Mrs. Grazer had the opportunity to weigh in. Changes for the public. The only thing that's different is we start a week later. That's just because of the way that Memorial Day falls. Graduation is in its same spot. The only difference is really from an equity standpoint, we were allowing our 6th through 12th graders to leave early, but our elementary teachers weren't afforded that same opportunity in December. So after meeting with Mr. Cox and logistics, everyone will have a 2-hour early dismissal on December the 18th. So we will have 1 less school day next year. We really talk a lot about safety. We have 2 of our buildings that are used as polling places. It costs the district, it is in the district's best interest to hire a detail in each of those buildings. If we're going to continue to be a polling place, which is in the best interest of our community, I believe it's in our best interest to make that a professional development day. It falls in a really weird space in being May, but it will allow what we're envisioning as a step-up day, that our teachers can work, our kindergarten teachers can work with the 1st grade teachers and across the district, build class lists, talk about student needs, and then talk about transitions even with students who may have 504s, individual education plans. It really allows, but the details are great, but if we're going to continue to be a polling place, I think we should have a professional development day. So we'll have just a bank of 6.2 hours less at elementary and 6.17 next year, but it does make sense not to have school if we're going to be a polling place.
right, so recommend the Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 school calendar as presented. Need a motion? I'll make that motion. Any second? All right, Jonathan. Any discussion? I think it's a good move, by the way.
Yeah.
On the voting. Well needed. Anything else? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Dufault?
Yes.
Ms. Grazer?
Yes.
Mr. Wooten?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
All right. Item 10. 2026-2027 course grade approvals, course guide approvals. Can't speak.
This is our second reading. I just want to, we have two small changes, but nothing, I want to preview those. So we are in a different era in Ohio with Algebra 2. The state allows now, we typically, I'm just dating ourselves in this room, we had a course sequence which was Algebra, Geometry, Algebra 2, Pre-Calc, Calculus. No longer in Ohio are you required as a student to sit for Algebra 2. You can have what's called equivalents. So those can be data science, those can be mathematical modeling and reasoning, they can be discrete math and statistics. We have previously approved statistics in a course guide. It was not utilized, and so we are bringing that back as one of those equivalents. We are also seeing an increase in statistics in the fields of study. You know, Algebra 2 is beneficial to certain careers where data science, statistics, quantitative reasoning are beneficial to others. So it's not that we're watering down, it's that we're aligning to what the rest of the state is doing and offering another take at mathematics through statistics. And then second, we are very proud of our partnership with Grant Career Center. The Grant Career Center, through sort of our satellite program with Shelby here at the school, has decided that we will offer a new VM course, and that's important. I'll talk about why VM is important to 9th and 10th graders. The semester course is called Video Production. Garth, maybe we'll hire them to do the board meetings for you. The VM course will introduce students to concepts of creating content, filming, audio recording, and will prepare them to take public speaking or video broadcasting as upperclassmen. Do remember that as we've talked about generating revenue through our partnership with Grant Career Center, vocational middle school courses generate money for the district. So that is why in the course guide, when we talked about it back in December, we talked about why there are so many little notes about vocational middle, because each of those 7, 8, 9, 10 follow a formula which generates revenue for the district. And that revenue will be there through this biennium budget. We don't know what's beyond that, but I will say the people that have the most money and the most freedom at the moment academically to iterate and to explore are our career tech partners, and we need to utilize them. And again, another great experience for our kids. So these two are new. If you have any other questions on the course guide, obviously Dr. Hollingsworth is here to answer those, but these two that we've added since the last time really do benefit our kids.
All right, so recommend the Board of Education approve the 2026-2027 course guides. Any motion?
So moved.
Tim, second? Mindy? All right, any discussion or questions? Good. All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Dufault?
Yes.
Ms. Grazer?
Yes.
Mr. Wooten?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman? Yes.
All right, item number 11, policies for approval, second reading.
So one of the most impactful things that the board does, along with the day-to-day oversight of the superintendent and treasurer, is to approve policy and our financials. So we do have a policy update here. All of these policies really fall in line with transportation. The Department of Transportation did have a large update that we must follow. So drug and alcohol testing of CDL license holders is updated here, and that is to reflect the federal statutory and regulatory changes to the return to duty process, including mandatory evaluations by substance abuse professionals, which all of our drivers at the moment were already inside of a random testing pool. These, then we now have, we call them van drivers. They are now called alternate vehicles. So we do utilize vans here. They do work to benefit the district to reduce transportation costs. Running a van versus running a 60 some passenger bus makes a huge difference. So those employees also have to be drug and alcohol tested. We only have 2 here, van drivers. So they are part of the pool. If you were in a district that maybe had 50 van drivers, they were requiring you to have both a traditional school bus pool and an alternate vehicle pool. Because we only have 2, ours would be tested every week. Kind of takes the random nature out of it. There are new regulations here for governing alternate vehicles. And again, bus and alternate vehicle driver certifications, they update the terminology for alternate vehicles and corrects references for background checks for disqualifying offenses. All of our employees are in RAPBAC. That is a system where if you make a poor choice and you are arrested and it's a violation of one of those disqualifying offenses, the district is notified immediately, usually within 24 hours. And then 8640 is transportation for non-routine trips. It adds language, our district's authority to provide transportation for other entities, and the use of multifunctional school activity buses and alternate activity vehicles is authorized. One of the notes was was that we typically don't allow children to eat on the bus. However, if there is a trip that is long that requires the students to miss their lunch, they could typically maybe eat their lunch on the way up or on the way back. It's a shall or a may. And then 8650 really reflects changes and updates rules from the Ohio Department of Education and Workforce. So this transportation update really is in line with federal, statutory, and state guidelines.
All right, wonderful. It's recommended the Board of Education conduct a second reading as well as approve and adopt the policies as presented. Any motion? Mindy, second? All right, Jonathan? Any discussion on any of these items? No? All right, roll call.
Mr. Dufault?
Yes.
Mr. Grazer? Yes. Mr. Wooten?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
Motion carried. All right. Item number 12, transportation.
Yeah, this is similar to transportation in lieu of. It does benefit the district. This is a parent who's is choosing to transport their student to and from Warren County Educational Service Center every day at the rate of $47.85 per day. So think about the cost of running a van or a bus versus reimbursing the parent. We are always happy to enter into these agreements for these specialized placements. They do benefit us. So we do want to, the change here is Mr. Floyd and I wanted to make sure the board authorized these because we are paying an individual and it is entering somewhat into it's a contract. We're entering into a contract with that individual.
All right, it's recommended the Board of Education approve the following for the 2025-2026 school year. Transportation reimbursement for Libby Long, a parent transporting their student to and from Warren County ESC at a rate of $47.85 per day round trip for the duration of the student's enrollment for the school year. So I need a motion.
So moved.
Tim, second?
I'll second.
All right. Tom, any discussion here? All right, roll call please.
Mr. Dufault?
Yes.
Ms. Grazer? Yes. Mr. Wooten?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman? Yes.
Motion carried. All right. Item 13. Approval of the property tax levy resolution.
I'm going to take this one.
Go ahead. Can we use
So
that?
this is just the second piece to piggyback off of the initial resolution that you all voted to approve on the 17th at our special meeting. So the county auditor certified the actual tax year 25 valuations to give us the millage yield. So our total valuation was just over $544 million across the district. And the 8 mill levy will produce $4,357,000 and some change, and this is for a period of 5 years. So it's a quick turnaround just for the deadlines. They have to be done within 90 days of the election. So for that year, that deadline is February 4th. So this is just essentially piggybacking off of the resolution of necessity with the county auditor certification, basically just to tie out all the numbers and how much it's actually going to generate. So a lot of words to say, not a whole lot.
Right on.
So, but as we've been seeing, obviously the forecast shows a very large revenue deficit that we simply can't cut our way out of by the time we actually get to that negative cash balance number. So,
Okay. It's recommended the Board of Education approve the resolution to proceed with the property tax levy for the purpose of current expenses as presented. In a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Jonathan, second. All right, Mindy. Any discussion here?
I think we had a discussion.
We did.
There's a lot of discussion. Yes, we changed the motion.
We have, yeah. Okay, roll call please.
Mr. Duval?
Yes.
Ms. Grazer? Yes. Mr. Wooten?
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman?
Yes.
All right, item 14, committee report. It's listed here for Grant Career Center update. Tim?
Yeah, I've got that. Our Grant Career Center update for the month of January. We had a special board meeting, public hearing for the 2026-27 tax budget. That was prior to our organizational meeting, which we had following the special board meeting. We had an organizational meeting and got all of our business set there. And then we had our regular monthly meeting for January. And, we reviewed and approved the 26-27 tax budget that we had a special meeting for. We talked about HR items. Most of it was around Brown Claremont County Adult Education Center. Had some short-term contracts where we hired 4 instructors there. Semi-annual bullying report was given to us. There was 10 reports of harassment at the school last year. After investigations, they were found to not be bullying, but there was proper discipline administered, and those issues were taken care of. We did policy updates for Neolia. We also did a 24-25 gap audit, was completed and filed to the state on 12/30. No findings. We went out and looked at the new building construction that continues out in the weld shop in the metal fabrication building. It's really impressive. There's 36 weld booths out there. It's really state of the art. It's really going to be nice. And I'll say that on April 2nd, we're set to do a ribbon cutting up there. So if you're around, I encourage you to go up and check that building out. And then following that, on the 16th of April, there'll be a 50th anniversary celebration at 4 o'clock for the retired staff and retired Board of Education members, and then at 5 o'clock for the general session with a community dinner. And our next meeting will be on the 19th of February at 6 o'clock. That's it. Any questions?
Good stuff. Well, with the approval of the board, I'd like to move back to public participation. Any objection? I think our late comer came. Is it okay?
yeah,
All right, awesome.
that's what I was going to suggest.
All right. Who do we have on the
Mr. DeWar, is that what you said?
Sure.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, sir, you have 3 minutes to address the board, please.
All right, folks.
Thank you.
It's real simple here. You know, you had a public comment of basically what, functionally 3 people last time there. I mean, I think I was the only one that actually made a comment in your public comment. You just voted on this. There's a few things that are on the horizon. We discussed last time extemporaneously after the board meeting that you were well aware that the financial apparatus that's controlling and putting you encumbered with consistent school levies is changing the law at the State House. All right, Paul has indicated that former Superintendent Byrd has told him that culturally the Republican Party was not really in tune with handling that particular change as far as changing that financial apparatus. Have you had discussions yet with Adam Byrd? Is that still how they feel, Paul?
I'll respond when you're done.
Okay, all righty. The next question is, we know that we've got within this 8 mil levy, there will be functionally a bill that will probably go through the State House and probably be put on the ballot, to which we will have property taxes eliminated. Have you made accounts as far as your cuts, assuming there's not going to be property taxes within this 8 mil levy? You can respond when I'm done on this. And the next thing, you seem to, have the last 20 years, and me going to research of every single budget since the year 2000 when I graduated, you seem to be going through treasurers like gym socks when they tell you how to be fiscally appropriate here. If this levy fails, given the nature that, generally speaking, it's very difficult unless you have a very strong, organized group. Is your current treasurer going to still maintain his job? Those are the 3 questions. That's all I got. I kept it under 3 minutes. Feel free to respond.
I'm not required to respond to public comment, but
Okay.
I'm gonna, I talked to Representative Byrd on Friday. We had a good conversation. I shared with him he had seen public posts that the district was going to have a levy on the ballot. I shared with him the concerns of the community and just how funding for public schools is very different than charter and community. Specifically, the notion that a charter or community school gets the full per pupil amount of the base cost at $8,200. Our district only gets $1,800 of that, so that it really only leaves us 2 vehicles to raise money at this moment without a safety net from the legislature that doesn't exist. You can't bank on something that doesn't exist, so our only 2 options are a property tax or some type of income tax. I reiterated that. He shared that he was concerned that our funding was different, and he would be looking into that. But at this moment, he didn't have any knowledge or understanding that the funding formula would be changing or not changing. He's one member of the House, and he did share that he would be willing to continue to hear our concerns.
Okay. So not drafting legislation, since he's the
Well,
person that actually is a lawmaker. Okay.
I can't speak for him. I can only tell you that, you know, he's a member of a larger group, and they have to decide. In terms of what the state looks like without property tax, that's up to the citizens should it make its way to the ballot. The district can't plan for something that doesn't exist. We have a current reality where our funding is significantly less than it was. We filed 2 reduction plans, and we can only, according to the state, working with our representative from ODEW, we can only react to our reality. Our reality is that we are spending more money than we're taking in. We were required to file our fiscal reduction plan, but on Friday I did ask Mr. Byrd, what does this look like without property tax? What does it look like for the state? Because we're only one small part of the puzzle. They have to figure that out. Our fight here is to continue to say that we provide a quality education for our community. We can't exist as we are now based on the deficit. We have to raise revenue. So we either continue to attempt through our revenue to generate revenue through our voters, which are the vehicles we legally have, or if we can't, we look like other people that go into state control. That's our reality. That's not a threat. We're either going to generate money, or we're going to end up in fiscal year 30. We're sitting about negative $5 million-ish. We can't make up a negative $5.5 million balance. You can't close enough buildings. You can't let enough people go. There's no way to shrink the district to pay the bills. So that's where we are. It's going to take a grassroots effort, not just inside of the 63 miles of this school district, but everywhere else to have fundamental change. We know people are upset about their property taxes. I'm upset about my property tax. We heard people loud and clear that an earned income tax wasn't, at the moment, the preferred course. We have an obligation to present to the board that we have to generate revenue, and the only other vehicle to do that is property tax. So, and this property tax request, as we will show, doesn't get us out of deficit spending. Within 2 years, we're spending more than we're taking in, correct? We get up, and then we start right back. We're not asking for the Cadillac. We're asking for a mid-sized family car to sustain the district. And the board has also made clear that there has to be a full and fair assessment of our configuration to if and when the community grants us this money, that we have a commitment to make it last as long as we can.
Real quick point of order before you perjure yourself. In the last meeting, which these people did not attend, you indicated that you have not done all those cuts, and you indicated a plan that would be a plan after this doesn't work, and with additional cuts. Was that actually what you indicated in the last meeting?
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm not on trial. Okay, like I'm a superintendent who's doing his best to run his school district. What I said was two things. One, if this doesn't pass, we will most likely have to file another reduction plan with the state. That is factual. But we don't know if it'll happen in February based upon where we are, but if we don't generate money in May, when the treasurer files the August, is it August now?
It'll be August.
August forecast, we will be required to make cuts. And we said at that special meeting, those cuts would include things that we are doing above what is required. We are not required to bus high schoolers. We don't cut it because we are trying to hurt people or, make them pass it. It's because the state doesn't give us money to purchase high schooler or bus high schoolers. We buy mental health services not required by law. Those would be cut, and then we would most likely have to close a building if we didn't generate new money. Those are the three things that we publicly put out when the board put the first resolution out. Those would be the things that we would have to do. That would at least sustain some cash, but it's not going to change what that 2030 forecast looks like.
And a third question.
Well, third question, I think we're not going to speculate on what if scenarios. It'd be unfair and disingenuous, obviously, to speak at this moment.
Well, I mean, functionally, the last treasurer cost less money than the current treasurer, and the current treasurer cost more money than the last treasurer. It's just a history. I see we're changing gym socks whenever we have to tighten the belt extremely tight. And I'm just curious, who's going to be relooking at the finances. So it seems like we're resetting the game every single time for functionally the same issue that's been going for 20 years. You've shown in 2025 to 2026, six-figure investment reduction that is going on. Most people try to get a return on investments. You guys are dropping off a cliff here. So we're chasing, we spent 20 years chasing ourselves. It's very easy, except for one person on the board who I'm looking at now, who's got the history of seeing this, but it really seems like that we're changing the deck chairs of the Titanic for the same problem. Okay, we made some very, very liberal fiscal spending issues on capital investments throughout the entire time here in Richmond. Some of them were functionally good as far as providing for quality, as far as education is concerned. We never, within the treasurer's report, understood a 15 to 25% pay-in to benefits for teachers. Okay, we've never functionally had to worry about a union that has been a checks and balances because we've given them a blank check. But then we're functionally paying more people every single time, 5, 10, 15, 20 treasurers, whatever, to try to fix fundamentally the same problem that has been fixed 20 years ago. We're going down the same path as West Claremont right now, and I'm just hoping that we don't go down the same path as West Claremont, because they went into an echo chamber with the taxpayers. Richmond's a great school, and you guys are good people for wanting to make sure that you're there. And I appreciate all you do, and I thank you for your time.
Well, the consistent thing across all of our state is the funding issue.
It is.
I'm on the board up here at Grant with people from Bethel, from Williamsburg, from Felicity. Guess what? They're in the same boat we are. We didn't ask to be here.
I know. That's why we got to get to the root of
We
the
are.
problem.
We're trying to come up with a way to solve the problem.
And there's a lot of people in the community that want to help you nip this in the bud. And it's way outside of the school district, and it's the Ohio General Assembly. And you're asking questions to people to where we got some good people here that are making difficult decisions for a problem that should have been dealt with 20 years ago. Any other school district, that would be able to have a few less eager spending people 20 years ago would not have created a situation and a laurel that you guys are having to wait with now. And it is not right, but here we are.
All right, let's move on. All right, last item number 15, board discussion. Any discussion from the board? Bring the date. Very good.
I just want to address one thing. First off, I don't think we've been living in an echo chamber with the community. We had so many community meetings before, as part of the levy campaign, after the levy campaign, and all that. So I would just want to make sure that the community understands that we're engaging you, we're listening to you, and we're not working in an echo chamber when we're talking about the tax levies and those types of things. And the very fact that we put forth what we did came from the community feedback, the survey and everything else. So I just want to make that clear that we have really been working hard to engage the community, and I appreciate the efforts of our team here that did that, and our community for coming out and supporting it, and the direction it provided us. And that engagement doesn't stop. We're taking every opportunity. Look at what Ms. Coons presented earlier. We're trying to engage the community in everything we do, because it's about every kid that walks through our buildings, and we're here to educate them and set them up for the future they deserve. So that's the last thing I have to say.
That's good. Anybody else? All right, last item, item 16, adjournment. Any motion? Move. Tim, second?
Second.
All right.
No hesitation.
Roll call.
Mr. Dupont.
Yes.
Ms. Razor. Mr. Wooten.
Yes.
Mr. Zimmerman.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much for everyone for coming out. Have a great evening.